Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So today I'm going to talk through numbers. How much did I pay exactly for my 2023 Lexus LX600 F Sport? So you guys know I did trade in my 2023 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, my Solar Octane 4Runner for this. Obviously that was right around the halfway mark of the actual price tag, right? So I ended up getting $55,000 for my trade-in on my 4Runner. And for those of you who don't know, I spent just under $57,000 for it. Now, normally speaking, if I were to say that out loud, people would be like, oh, wow, that's really great. That's great trade value that you got for it. However, for those of you who frequent my channel, you know that I did not own that 4Runner for too long. So I owned it for probably maybe right around 2.5 months at that. So not very long at all. Not enough to really warrant how much I quote unquote lost on it, right? You know, between registration taxes and fees and all that stuff. However, it is good to mention because by me getting $55,000 for the trade-in, it brought down, it was a nice tax credit. You know, registering where I am at, there's a 6% tax, sales tax for it, and that brought down, instead of paying the sales tax on the full amount of my Lexus LX600 here, I then only paid for the difference between my trade-in and the actual sale price of the vehicle here. So I'm gonna pop in here, I'll show you what the sale price was and exactly how much I paid for it. All right, so here is the window sticker of the LX, of course. Let me pop down here, give you a better look. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit here and get an idea of some of the specs and details. But for this video, I really want to focus on this section here and of course the final price tag. So these are quote unquote the option spec items for the LX here. So the F Sport comes with all of this over here. So this is all standard for the F Sport, but then these are some additional installed options. So I can kind of walk you through what that looks like. The active height control, some people are indifferent on it. I prefer it after everything that I've read and done some homework on it. This was not a must-have for me, but it was a more desirable aspect of it where I can actually adjust the height of the vehicle. And Lexus is pretty notorious for having a very long-lasting height adjustment. They've been doing it since the the LX470. So they've been doing it for a while, or the 100 series Land Cruiser, right? So they've gotten pretty good at that, all that to say. The Mark Levinson 25 speaker sound system, easily the best sound system I've ever had. Could have done without that, yeah. I'm not a huge audiophile, I think is what they call them, or audio connoisseur, but it really is easily the best sound system I've ever had in any of my vehicles. But it comes with a price tag, right? $2,600 for that. Pretty substantial. They get you for smaller things, of course. It being the ultra white, it does have the quote unquote premium paint charge, which is a little silly, but so did Solar Octane for the 4Runner, being the TRD Pro exclusive color for that year. It did come with a little bit, I think it was $500 if my memory serves me right. You get the cargo mat up back and key gloves, small kind of petty stuff there, kind of that adds up a little bit. And then here was my purchase price. Well, let me rephrase that. That was what they sold the vehicle for, but they did try to force a $5,000-ish markup on it. They tried forcing these few items here to really kind of hike it up a bit. So clear mask, blah blah blah, goes up 18 inches on the hood. I'll show you that here in a second. Nano Cure, Star Guard, Lux Care, window tint, all kind of BS, right? So kind of nonsense. But I managed to talk them into doing it for $2,300. So I guess a little bit less than half of what they wanted to get for it. I brought them down to $2,300. So I spent right around $113,500. is what I spent for this vehicle. Then when you subtract the $55,000 for the trade-in, what does that bring it down to? That brings it down to right about $58,000, $59,000 if public math serves me right. So that was the difference between my trade-in and the actual purchase price of the vehicle. So now instead of paying 6% sales tax here where I live on $113,000, I'm now paying that 6% on the 59, whatever that is, right around that 59,000. So a lot better, that quote unquote, $3,000 savings, if you will, if you even want to call it that. Okay, So that was kind of how it all shook out. Could I have gotten a little bit better for the 4Runner? Yes. Could I have reached out to a number of different dealerships, Toyota dealerships, and found a better offer than $55,000? I'm pretty confident yes, because even when you blue book it right now, I think that 4Runner technically shakes out to right around that $60,000 mark, or even a little bit more if it's in excellent condition. So could I have gotten a little bit more? Yes, but it wouldn't have made for a seamless purchase, and of course the whole tax savings bit of it too helped out a little bit. So there you have it, guys. And actually I'll pop up to the front real quick and show you. So they did do a pretty good job. Kind of walked around all the details of the clear mask install that they did. Kind of see it running up the hood. They did do a pretty good job. So is it worth the $2,300 between that and the window tint and a couple other things? No, but not far off. I'd say everything that I actually got in addition to, you know, the installed options, I'd say maybe worth $1,000 or $1,200 tops, realistically. So maybe I paid $1,000 markup is what I would shake it out to be. But for those of you who have been in the market for an LX600 F Sport, you know that they're pretty tough to come by, right? So there's very few of them out there, few of them that are produced, especially the F Sport trim in particular. And when they do hit a dealership lot, they tend to fly off the shelf pretty quick. And oftentimes, even still, dealerships are still trying to milk people of pretty gross and egregious markups. We're talking 10, 15, 20,000. And I haven't seen too many 20,000s, but recently. But they've tried to get you from that $5,000 to $10,000 pretty easily on these still. For me, my last point I'll make in this video is I feel a lot better having purchased this at MSRP compared to paying $106,000 or $107,000, excuse me, for the 200 series Land Cruiser. So I spent $107,000 for that. That to me was kind of a tougher pill to swallow, right? Because what did we do there? We're paying the market value of it. Whereas once upon a time, back in 2020, I spent $80,000 for the same exact vehicle. And that's hard for me to fathom spending that much more money on the same vehicle that I purchased back in 2020. May of 2020, I paid $80,000. I was about $10,000 below MSRP at the time, roughly. Right? And then because, we did away with the Land Cruiser in the United States, the market for them went up tremendously. They've since come down, so I think I sold it at a pretty good time, especially with interest rates the way they are. So I feel so much better having spent this kind of coin and paid MSRP for essentially the Land Cruiser 300 series, right? But with some dolled up options being the Lexus version of it. So I feel a ton better paying that kind of money for this compared to paying $107,000, very similar amount for the Land Cruiser version, which truly is an $80,000 vehicle at the end of the day. So sure, I prefer the Toyota logo up front too. I like that better, but if it means spending the same amount of money and getting a brand new 2023 F Sport, for sure I'm going to do this and feel a lot better about it. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if I got a pretty decent trade value for my 4Runner. I should have mentioned too that 4Runner had only 1,200 miles on it, so it was essentially brand new. I did take off my sliders. I think that's important to note. It's the only thing that I really quote unquote added to my 4Runner was a window tint for $500 or $400. So otherwise it was stock. So I'll wrap up the video there, guys. Sorry I made this a little long. Appreciate you watching as always. Till next time.